feel lost.
Lost? What do you mean?
First podcast together on these platforms.
Yes, our second one total. I was about to say, welcome to the second episode.
It is our, because it's a series that we're doing of embodiment.
Yes.
Embodiment series. Girl.
Yeah, our first episode in February. It's been 6 months, and it was on self-love and what we do, like our actions that we take for self-love. But this episode, we wanted to talk more about how we're feeling in the current state with all of these shifts happening. And I genuinely wanted to open the conversation with asking you how you're feeling.
Okay, so this is going to be a long explanation, very vulnerable, open, not just, yes, I'm doing good, thank you, how are you? Because I hate that shit. But since May, so there's been a couple months, since May, I've been doing so much like energetic work, with getting like Reiki certified, with doing so much events, with going on my first retreat, out of the country, with, hanging, and then doing like normal things like juggling relationships and communication and opening myself up to opportunities and doing the obligations and taking care of everything that I have made myself responsible to take care of. And it's just been a lot, and I knew every step of the way that it was like, you have to do this. You have to do this. Like, not in like a something bad's gonna happen if you don't do it, but like what you're searching for is down this path. Like, you are on your path, and the things that are coming up are things you have to go through, feel, deal with, experience, so that you can keep going on your path. Because basically, like, if I didn't, I would have stayed stuck on that path unconsciously. But it's been really hard. I've been feeling like anxious towards like each event, and it's because I've been out of my comfort zone in these events, in all the ones that I've been doing since May, which has been like more than 5, and just doing them differently and having different themes, and flying to Florida and doing that one on my friend's land, like farm, like that was like such a beautiful experience with me. And then pushing myself to do a sunrise sound bath for like a runners club was like really cool. I felt really called. I was like, I know for a fact that a lot of these people don't meditate and like get into spirituality, and I was like, no, I feel like I'm the perfect, I love introducing it to people. So I knew it was like a call, but I literally had a flight that day. So that day was like, are you gonna do it? Because you're gonna be tired. Even though you're gonna be tired, you're gonna do it. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to, right? And then the event in Florida was literally the next day, so I had like 24 hours to recharge, and then it was just like perfect. It was like great after that. Like, my anxiety after that event finished like completely went away. And then as I've gotten closer to the event, my event tomorrow, Soul Sync, I am like super anxious because I've been manifesting it for like about a year, almost a year now. And to see like everything coming in is like, because I feel very powerful, I feel very magical, but also I feel like so grateful and so emotional. And I'm just like, I know I'm worthy, but at the same time I'm crying because I'm like, oh my god, I don't deserve this. You know, like when people get like a crown or like a trophy or something, and they're just like, they feel as if they don't deserve it. And that's just like, it's humble in a way, but at the same time it's like, no, like give yourself the credit. So finding that balance between like feeling grateful and appreciative, and also feeling like humble, as in like I am honored to be able to do this. Like this is a gift that I'm given, that I'm allowed to, and I'm meant to share with others, that I have to be very conscious and intentional about doing. And I hit like a year and a half no alcohol, so we just
Congratulations.
process it. How far are you?
7 months in.
Girl,
Well, today.
girl, I feel like the first 6 months was the hardest, and after that it was like nothing.
I was gonna say it's August, so actually it's 8. I've been saying 7 because I've had that conversation recently, and I know I just told you, but we're in a new month, so it's on month 8. And as much as I thought that it would be a difficult decision and or transition, and like we talked about in the beginning, with having to just have boundaries with removing yourself from experiences and maybe even connections where that atmosphere it's heavy, like it's very present, if that makes sense by me saying heavy. So being very conscious, if there's one thing that I feel like I have been since we last talked, it has been that. But I do want to ask you too, you said 2 things that stuck out to me, and one of those things in the beginning of asking you how you were feeling was that it's hard, and who else is making it hard for you but you in this transformational state of, because I, like, while you were talking, I literally thought to myself, did she just send this to me telepathically, because we were talking that way? But I got this like really, really, I wouldn't even call it painful, it was all over the back of my head, and it just like spread like this while you were talking. And then you had said crown, and I was like, okay, maybe she's got a lot of pressure in her head. But honestly, that's the reality. And you talking about interacting with people who don't normally meditate, that's where they spend their time. That's where we spend our time, unless you get into your body or do any kind of, I think one of the first beautiful practices I was introduced to is breath work. That's something that honestly, I was like, no, that sounds too easy. I don't want to do it. I breathe naturally. Like, I think every human would not like make those excuses, but say those kinds of things. I've struggled with my heart my entire life, like my heart organ, not dealing with heartbreak or heartache, but literally having physical dis-ease within my heart. And that's not, I wouldn't say a normal thing that people deal with, but it definitely opened my eyes of like, you should try breath work. You need to do it.
Girl.
Like, it was, the more I was pushed towards it, and like even incorporating breath work, like with my friend Sarah doing, oh, you should come to yoga. And I was like, oh, what kind of yoga do you do? And she had said something that struck a chord within me, but then she was like, it's very, you know, beginner, like anybody is welcome. And I was kind of like, well, I've done hot yoga. Like, not like that's what I've done, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking for to bend and flex. And then I realized how much I needed somatic healing and movement. And I was like, oh, so the real healing happens when we slow down. Is that not what meditation is? Is that not what yoga and breath work and all these things are, where we're literally, life is like a freaking dart, and we're riding on the dart, but then we also are the hand that's throwing that dart. So it's like, oh shit, we really can control this speed. Life goes at our own speed, but nobody's making it hard on you but you. If you're allowing other people's perceptions of being like, damn girl, that's like that must be rough, and you're like, it is, you just affirmed it, you know, like these things, conversations. And that's honestly why I was quiet before we got on this, because I'm not going to be your friend that affirms your hard situations where you're not feeling like yourself and you're not feeling this groundedness. I'm gonna let you speak, because if that's how you're feeling, that's how you're feeling. But I'm not gonna sit there and be like, that's one tough cookie, chica, and it's gonna crumble, you know? Like, we're all meant to literally dismantle and reassemble ourselves every day. And if that doesn't sound intimidating, I don't know what is. Like, creation itself is intimidating, and we think that it's so easy to create because we do it unconsciously. But when it becomes a conscious action, you might want to pump the brakes.
Mm-hmm. For me, the intention behind whatever it is that you're feeling and doing and acting is like, for me, like the go-to, the core. It's like, okay, what is the intention here?
Mm-hmm.
What am I trying to do? And for me, it's like, if I don't see an intention that's going to be impactful, then I won't do it. Because you can impact people in many ways, and there's a very intentional, particular way I want to impact people, and I know that it is not meant for all the right places, all the right times, all the right people. And like learning to discern that and learning to accept people for where they're at and where they're willing to go is very heartbreaking. And what you had said earlier about the heart, I literally wrote down before our call, and I said, I've had no major heartbreak, but my heart is being broken and realigned and remolded, because that's what I'm like, it's growing, it's evolving, it's doing. And it just so happens that it's going through like reconstructive surgery because of all the, like, that's what it feels like.
Not to pause you, that's called open heart surgery, not heartbreak surgery. Your heart is being opened. Yeah. It's not being broken.
But
what you gonna say but for?
Because in the heart surgery, you have to break open the skeleton to get to the heart. So in a way,
the sternum does have to be broken.
So it feels, it's painful, it's hard. And so to like go through that, but to know like the benefits of the procedure, the act is going to be so like transforming, impactful, beneficial, is what makes you do it. But it's not anywhere near easy, and it's not anywhere. I had somebody tell me, and I have people tell me this all the time, like, oh, I envy you. And I'm like, please don't. I was like, because I would never wish what I've been through on anybody. And like when I see other people going through things that I've never been through, it makes me see my situation and be like, wow, I am blessed compared to them. And it's humbling in a way, but at the same time, you want to validate your feelings and be like, I don't wish what I've gone through on anybody, because the pain that I went through was something that I thought at many moments in my life I couldn't endure. So I think awareness, intention, and acceptance, and like doing the work is basically the essentials. And you'll have days that are hard, and like, you know, you're like, I can't produce anything today, I can't create anything, but yet you're creating space for yourself to rest. So essentially you're creating, because like you said, we're always creating. It's just you don't feel like you're creating, because in our society creating is a malleable thing.
Very much so. And how imbalanced it can feel energetically with having your masculine energy trying to check your feminine energy with like, my creation is in relaxation and in rejuvenation. That's what the feminine is saying to the masculine, you know. And then like all these moments, I know Sheikah might be in here right now. I shared her video on attitudes of gratitude, but really the beginning statement that the only disability is attitude. And this entire time I've wanted to tell you, like, it's your perception, it's your perspective. You're talking about intention and your awareness, and it is there because in so many ways you've checked me in the way that I'm speaking, in the way that I am consciously creating my reality. Even in you just saying like, I cannot create today, but then you were in a paradox with following it with, well then I know I am creating because I'm taking up space. It's like you're coming through, and then you're like, I'm not saying you're trying to chop yourself off. You are so bountiful, like infinitely bountiful. If the last 6 months have shown you anything, it's like, not that, never that you created too much, never that you were too much. We are not too much. Like, I want to say that to me, because that's one of the things that would open my heart is, Alyssa, you're being too much. Like, you've been told that your entire life by people that say they love you in relationships, by friends, Lord have mercy, but oh my God, in academics. Like, I wanted to be somebody who learned, and I'm literally having to, when I say aloud and when I tell myself I'm going to be a student and a teacher for the rest of my life, nobody's going to take that away from me. Nobody's going to downsize my voice or my attitude. I'm the, like, it'd be funny to say I'm the attitude queen. I had drama queen pajamas as a kid. I like didn't want to be an actress. I wanted to be a pop star. I wanted to share my voice and sing and be on stage. And then when I thought about getting on stage, I was like, no, I don't want people to perceive me. I just want to share my voice. Why am I so scared of people looking at me? Because what I am feeling is like, it's weird to say when people look at me, I'm feeling your feelings. So don't look at me. But when I'm looking at, like, and it's weird to think that even by looking at you, like, I'm looking at you through a lens, through your lenses or through my lenses, my eyeballs. And by admitting that, like, you were talking about how hard and maybe pressuring these circumstances may feel right now, and I'm over here like a boomerang to the back of the neck. It feels like, you know, your crown. You're such a gorgeous lotus. I'm so grateful to know you. And like, I thought, you know, like, to do stuff, and this is how I felt yesterday when I was telling Shaky this. I was like, we're the same age, you know, like, it's one thing to be like, you're older than me and you're more wise than me, and it's not even about age, Rachel. It's not. I want to tell all women, I want to tell all people that it's not about age. In certain circumstances it is, but when it comes to love, it's not. And knowledge, wisdom, when it finds you, it finds you. I'm just like, I used to be like, do I know enough? I still do that. I am still doing that. Like, I have connections now where it's this check and balance of like, you know, we would not be aligned if you were not aware, or if we were not aware, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I think, to go back to your question about like what's making it so hard, is that I know how many connections, places, and things I have to release. And that's what makes it hard. And that's what makes it like where the guilt comes in, and that like you want to wait for them, or you want to try to help them, but like going back and helping them through that challenge is literally not your job. It would be an act of kindness, but that is not like survival of the fittest, right? And so it's very hard, like, as a humanitarian, right, as life path number 11, like, it's very hard to know that I am meant to impact humanity, but to also know that I cannot force it or control it.
So why are you trying to control it?
Like, control it as in, like, I can't control who accepts it or rejects it. And so, like, people
or who enters and exits. I mean, like, yes you can, but in terms of like making space for these people that not like you fear or experiences even, but you've done it before, it's gotten you to this point, and it's asking you to actually do it. I don't know, like, we didn't talk about when the last time you did this experience of like loving people and leaving them where they're at, because I know that's what we talked about in the first episode.
Yeah, I've been doing that with multiple people since then, and I guess it's like a thing of that I've learned, like, and also like being a catalyst and just like understanding my mission. It's like, it's not about me. I'm just delivering a message. I'm just delivering energy. I'm just there to move energy. I am just there as a vessel, because I am channeled, because I am connected, like it's not about me. But then, you know, there's people that grab your heart and you want to kind of like be alongside of them, or at least be connected to them through their journey, but that's not how it's going to play out. That's not how it's meant to play out. Like they're meant to go through their journey by themselves, just kind of like you did. But you can still check in, you can still do these things. And so finding those boundaries and not not saying like I have to completely cut this person off just because they're not aligned with me, but setting a boundary as in to be like, I'll check in with this person every now and then, but I am no longer gonna allow them in my like space, energy, and have access to me type of thing. And so having to do that with people that you genuinely like see a mirror, and not just like your present mirror, but like your inner child mirror. When you see someone with your inner child mirror and you can like feel what they went through, because you're like, damn, we had like a very similar childhood. Like, I understand how you feel because I felt that way for a very long time. It's heartbreaking and also empowering to be like, damn, I see you so good. I see you so clearly. I want to just like send you love, but also accepting the fact that they have to choose that for themselves, just like it took me a very long time. I did it in my 20s, but it took me a very long time in my teenage years to make that decision, because in my teenage years I was like, no, 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 I'm going to do this because I know better, because I'm a fucking genius at 17 years old.
Yeah, running on.
And
I would say I've run. It's funny that Charlie XCX, who I've listened to her music since 2013, is having a brat summer, because I'm coming out of a brat era of we're not doing certain stuff anymore. That's okay, because you want this, you need to let go of this. You are not going to become this, whatever visions I have of myself, these dreams, aspirations. And I felt that literally just with moving in the last 30 days, physically moving, exhausting. I took a week and a half to like bounce back, or maybe even like we're in our third week, I think, of living here. So it's just starting to feel like I'm waking up honestly with so much gratitude, but also feeling these disconnects within myself, and admitting it's very difficult to admit to like community. I've had this perception to it that it is difficult to communicate even with my friends about, like, when it comes to collaborating or doing things where we're creating together and there's money involved, or like even opening up conversations about you want to do energetic work and creating your own currency. And I know that's not what we were like planning to talk about today, but more so this, like, I have it written down, and you said awareness, but self-salvation. We talked about that a lot in our last couple of phone calls, with what every religion teaches. And we're not talking about religion, but the clarity that this inner journey, again, not backtracking to our first episode, but the acknowledgement, the awareness of the inner journey, and not the idolatry of the prophet. Because who would want to be that person who was just trying to guide people and help people, and they end up getting put on a pedestal to the point that they're like, I'm not wanting to get worked up, but thinking about how many people have been slaughtered for their belief in a higher power. And I mean slaughtered in, like, there's not just one way, or in this circumstance specifically of speaking up about how important the inner journey is, that they will try to silence you. There's no better time, not going to be repetitive, but there's no better time than now to speak up about all the things that are going on in the world. Because if you have the ability to speak, if you have the ability to share. It's worth doing for the people who cannot. If it would, this conversation my friend and I were having yesterday, if it was someone you loved, if it was someone you loved, your beliefs change. I don't have to ask you that. It is a rhetorical question, because as soon as it's a prejudice against something that someone doesn't believe in, it doesn't align with their values, when people don't even know what their values are or how to define the word value. Get a dictionary. Like, use Google, for the love of Christ. Please don't idolize the person trying to give you the divine insight that it lies within you. Don't play the blame game when it is you. There's so many games that are so distracting. I actually love the blame game. It's one of my most petty, I don't know what I would describe it as, like a squishmallow that has spikes, and I love it because it looks cute, but at the same time it's so deadly to me, because on the other side of that is self-sabotage. And I also love to think that doubting myself is going to get me to that's different than being delusional. Doubting myself, as in telling myself, you're not capable, you can't do this. And then thinking that it's going to get me to the next destination. Like it used to in school, I'd be like, I'm gonna flunk this test, and then I aced it, and then I was like, yeah, that's the mentality we're gonna take for the rest of our life. When the universe gives us tests, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna fail this, like looking through my hands type thing, knowing that if I have this confidence, this courage, this is so friend coded. Everything that's coming through me right now is shared messages. The confidence and courage to speak, because the throat chakra of the world is being attacked right now and mocked
and manipulated and gaslit, and
makes me want to be like, I wish I had muscles on muscles to just flex for a second and be like, do I look scary? Do I look good for you, Mr. Armstrong? That TikTok had me so.
you're killing me right now. I am literally like so happy to be feeling so, like when I talked about earlier the gratefulness, I got like a download when you were talking, and it was like, why are you so grateful? Like, what is, like, let's deep dive into that, because we deep dived into what was uncomfortable. So like, what are you so grateful about? Like, you need to be specific about it. Like, you need to give as much attention to the gratitude as the other stuff, right? Like, you need to deep dive both ways. And the gratitude was just like, I feel so grateful to be aligned with the opportunities and the connections and the people that I have been this year, basically. And I'm also so grateful for the universe protecting me from the people that were not meant to be around, even if I wanted them to be. And to know, how you were saying, like, if you know something and you have that mentality, like it's law of assumption, it's also manifestation. But what you believe is so powerful, and I believe I am protected, and I believe I'm divinely protected. So I know when I meet somebody and I connect with them that I'm divinely protected. And if I ever feel any kind of way, I'll ask my guides, like, show me what's up. Or I'll ask a very specific question. I will be like, if this person is aligned with me, grant them abundance.
And it's so crazy that you say that, because what you're doing, like, normal people don't think like that. Oh my God. People wish harm on each other, first off.
But my thing is I never do. I don't wish harm upon people. And I'll like release them, I'll let them go. And that takes away like my shield that I have, that I've formed, that I have built with my spiritual team. And then the exact opposite of what I asked the universe to show me if they were aligned happens to them. And I'm no longer connected to them. So I just watch and I'm like, wow, the universe really protecting me from having to deal with that karma, that situation, that challenge that they were going through, because it had nothing to do with me. And the universe knows my heart, and they know if I'm connected to somebody like that, I'm going to be there for them. Especially if they ask me to, especially like if they're venting to me going on, and if I feel like I can help. So I am just so like grateful to be so connected to source, and the connections that I feel seen in, like this one, and the connections that I feel heard in, the connections that I feel loved in. Like, I value and appreciate them so much. So it's like, when I say it's hard, like, I'm not lacking anything though. Like, it's hard, but I am abundant at the same time. And so it's like, I have no complaints, but this shit still hurts.
Like, tell me why I'm shedding tears last night, and my partner asked me like, what the fuck is up, because we just had a hard conversation, and I'm like disassociating, but tears are rolling down my face. And I said, I feel so rich and abundant in my community, but not in dollars. Like, I spoke like a 5-year-old, but I was so real in saying that. Like, I feel so grateful for my community, for my connections. Where I feel amiss is the currency part. And then here I go with playing game. I'm like, who from my past? Like, literally. And that's when I say, when I'm crying, go look in the mirror, Alyssa. You were you know, there are so many, and I've wondered too, like, why I wanted a wall full of mirrors. It's not because I'm vain and I want to look at myself, although there's some beauty to glamour magic, okay, and mirror magic in general, in dimensions, but I'm not going to get into that. Just genuinely wanting to, like, it's weird to say my reflection is my best friend, like the personal reflection, the person that I see in the mirror.
Your shadow?
I also,
Is it your shadow? Because if you look at your reflection in the sun and you see that's your shadow, which is technically your reflection, and if you look in a TV screen, it's a black mirror and you can see yourself, but a mirror is like the most defined. I don't know, I just felt like that
there's
on
so many things I want to say right now. My eyelids just fluttered so hard because they're like so random. Gonna pop a thought into the sky real quick. The only reason that we know what rainbows are is because of glass. And what is a mirror? You know? And things that are able to break in terms of, I'm talking about glasses and, like, you know, being able to see through, but ultimately we're all seeing through reflections. Why I specifically brought up my reflection and in being in an emotional state, because it's one of the weirdest ways I've found to ground. Like, literally, if I don't have anything, like undiagnosed ADHD, don't know if this is what this is, but being in a mirror and like not having any external stimuli makes me, it's like tunnel vision. I'm looking at myself going, why is this happening? And thinking about, you know, external controls, as in like stuff that I could not control, and then what I could control, like the way that I'm feeling, where I'm just, oh my God, like, I'm so used to feeling like I've got, and I have thousands of emotions I'm processing all the time, but this state of being like, dare I call myself a damsel in distress, because the distress I was causing was within myself. Yeah, you know, this you said battle, like, the question that you were asking the universe about sending people abundance, and that kind of, you know, allows you to take that back. And I do, I have this feeling of, I'm in battle with myself at all times, and that is why it is important to ground. Astrologically speaking, every sign has a sister sign. Aquarius is Leo. Pisces is Virgo. I'm a Pisces sun with a Virgo rising. in this internal conflict of sitting in like what I would consider very maiden mother, but also like divine mother energy. And I have this like, the world's gonna end and it's ending within me. Like, and I would be that kid too that's like, we're all gonna die, you know? Do y'all think about death? Like when I saw the Barbie movie, I cried so hard because all I wanted to know was Barbie's birthday. And when I saw she was created on the same date as me, I wondered why a blonde Barbie with blue eyes had such a profound effect on me. But it's specifically when she broke her matrix and asked everybody about death. Like, it is like the world stops when you think about death and rebirth. And what could sit in the middle of death and rebirth? You. It's always you, or whoever is thinking that thought, right? And then to collectively think that thought, damn, that's powerful. Like, it is so powerful because it's positive, like energetically speaking, positive or negative. Don't think that there is a neutral to sit. There's a stagnancy, that's purgatory. But the death and the rebirth part, I feel like is this unifying process within the self. So I'm trying to say, like, there have been no better reflections for me as of recent to feel abundant, to feel grateful than in my community. And then have this realization too. I mean, really it was something as simple as the friend that I just lost, her birthday in January, we went out to eat. She had no idea. Like, it wasn't anything about that. I knew that she was going through a hard time financially. And at that time, like, it wasn't, and I'm just bringing up this instance because it leads to what happened this week of me having this shift in perspective and mentality. I poured the rest of my money into my friend because that's what I would want to do. I don't have any regrets. Like, it's this, I know what is I'm giving is going to come back. That friend has never done anything like that for me. And this new connection that we officially met. We had a 2-hour FaceTime call and then we officially met. Very similar energy. And spend the day together. And she buys me lunch. And it's one of those things of like, I literally said, no, don't have to do that. No, you took me to your sacred place. I would like to take you to lunch. And I shut my mouth because I'm out of this brat zone. I have nothing but to be grateful for these opportunities. This is a new friendship, for these opportunities that are coming through, because I know they're meant to happen. And I know that it's this equal, like we talked about, this mutual effect with energy and collaborations and creativity. And it is like, girl, we ain't got to worry about cups being filled. It is overflowing all the time. And so maybe the waterworks, literally, as in the tears, because how long have we waited to heal? Generations. And I wanted to have, I mean, like, we chose to incarnate right now. We're here for that reason. I'm like vibrating. I'm not going to be somebody that keeps my voice silent. No longer. I've done it for so long. Thank you.
and for me too, like since 2022 when I started my podcast, and in 2021 when I started my LLC, Goddess Vibrations, like it was like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And like that all happened in COVID because I went through like a long-term relationship breakup, moved out, moved in with a new roommate, started a whole new life, and then partied hard for like a year, and then something just like switched in me, and I was like, yeah, I don't like this anymore. Like it's not doing what I want it to do. It's not giving me the results I want to get. And it's funny that you mentioned like the crying in the mirror, and I feel like we've talked about this before between us, but I as a child would always go cry in the mirror. And as I've aged, I feel like now when I cry in the mirror, I'm crying to my inner child who was crying, but I'm also crying to my higher self who is just looking at me smiling, but also crying. You know, like we're all crying. And so I see mirrors as like portals, whether it's a black mirror, whether it's a phone that's off, that has the black screen, like there's so many portals and so many things. And that's why I think like you can connect with people the way that we've connected and like have these alignments that we have even through a screen, because it's a portal as well. And I just I love crying, but it is not easy to cry all the
You are
time.
a portal.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to affirm
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And you are
It's
too.
like a
Yeah.
like a mirror is a reflection pool of portals. I can't say how many there are, but it's full of a lot of, it's like
Yeah.
water, what we were talking about with water. It's so mutable. So I wish, you know, it feels that way. It was that weird thing of like, I'm gonna check to make sure this mirror is real. But I also just want to like, to this day, I have a very weird sensation that happens when I touch a mirror. It's a very cool feeling. I think everybody should try it, not on some like Bloody Mary type stuff. I mean, pouring, if you wanted to know how it feels to connect with a higher version of yourself, try saying I love you with your eyes closed while touching the mirror, you know, and just seeing how those words sit. If you can feel them, and if you can feel, like, I know it sounds weird to say, like, if you can feel past versions of yourself, and now flip it to see if you can feel future versions of yourself. Because when I was meditating today out on the patio, and I came in and I was like, I'm hearing TikTok. I'm hearing TikTok. I had laid down, so I gotten so peaceful. And then it was like, I'm laying on my stomach, so it was like pressure on my chest while laying on my chest. So it was very weird. I like immediately pressed up and was like, I gotta get up and I need to like start preparing now. And it was like 1. And I was like, why am I feeling I'm feeling so unprepared. I'm feeling like I shouldn't do this intuitively. I should think this through. Like,
and for me, it was like a emotional, like, I'm not ready. I can't do this. Like it would, and which is mental. Like,
and then literally that's when I stepped into, no pun intended, we were on the phone. I was like, I'm gonna need some time to get ready. Stepped into the mirror and just looked at myself, because to this day, as much as I love to do my makeup, I want to strengthen my love for looking at my authentic self. I love the magic of makeup and all its powers that it wields for people, and confidence, this confidence boost, because I feel like a whole new woman when I put even on some lipstick. Like, it could be just lipstick. But feeling, this groundedness. Yeah, mirrors are so powerful. I do want to admit that, like, one of the things that we wanted to, one of the things I've been feeling recently, and even calling myself a creator, and you reminded me of this in a phone call, and I'm looking at the notes because it's the second thing under it. We were talking about, you know, people following. We don't want to be people that just talk. We want to be people that follow it with actions, and being somebody who doesn't just walk the walk, this spiritual discernment that has to happen. But you were saying that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred and transformed. I'm over here thinking, like, why don't we call ourselves transformers? And then I'm like, who's speaking right now? Like, I'm literally in my head of like, did that come from the inner child version of me? Because then all I was thinking about, I love Transformers. I love cars that turn into robots.
I was obsessed with the first one in high school and middle school. Like, I was obsessed.
Also because of Megan Fox. Like, I like the cars, but I also watched it because of Megan Fox. And Shia LaBeouf's crazy ass. that
Yeah.
hearing that in my head, I was asking myself, is there a disconnection because energy cannot be created or destroyed? So why do we call ourselves creators rather than transferers? You know, like it'd just be weird to have these certain titles, but it's weird to have this statement be in the universe that it can't be created or destroyed. And then we're now out here. Everybody is a creator of their reality. So I just found it very like that was a word that was going on my head. You can't call yourself a creator. You should call yourself a transformer.
Switch perspective though, and think about all the energy that's given to you. It's up to you what you do with it. You can create from it. You can alchemize it.
Very like perspective back.
You can transform it, you know. Just like when you're upset and you go do something active, alchemizing. So it's like that's why a lot of people call themselves like alchemists, and stuff like that. But I think
I'm just getting into alchemy.
I love alchemy and law of assumption and vulnerability. Like I feel like those have such an impact, and when you combine them in different ways, especially creative ways, and collaborating with different creative people to create an experience that nobody else is doing. Like literally last night at one of the events that I went to go see, one of my friends was a DJ, and he was like, thank you so much for coming, like I haven't seen you in so long, like I thought this event was gonna flop, and it was packed. And I was like, I'm so like happy for you. And I was like, please come on Sunday, because you have yet to come to one of my events. Like I know you're not spiritual and you're nervous, but like I got you. And he was like, you're doing something that no one else is doing. And I was like, yeah, that's the point. And I was like, I'm creating with multiple people that already do certain things to pull them together to create a certain experience so that people can be like, you don't have to just do this. You don't have to just do that. You don't have to fit in any box. Like the multi-use, multi-purpose, multi-dimensional.
Oh yeah. I'm literally wondering, and I've told my friends this recently, like the labels, the titles all feel like boxes. And I'm over here redoing my website. Like I
We were
had
talking about this.
digital
like,
visionary or something, and I was like, this feels like it's from 2008. And now I gotta revamp it. So I'm putting in multi-dimensional artist, astrologer, and alchemist. I'm like, I like that. Do I feel like I'm embodied? Like it's weird to put these things out there because it's a check for me. Am I embodying those? Or do I just like how they fit? You know?
and for me, it's more like, fuck, lost it. I had to bounce off, and then I waited, and it flew away.
I'm sorry. What had the?
Say what you just said.
I'm over here like, trying to recount my statements.
Because you were saying you're revamping your website.
Do I just do I like how am I embodying those, or do I just
okay,
like how they fit?
Got what I was gonna say. And like for me, I've learned that I like to be called a guide rather than to be called this or that, or like I am a Reiki master, or I am a sound healer, or I am this, or I am a goddess, or I am a queen, or I am intuitive, or this or that. Like I just want to be called the guide. And then they're like, where are you guiding me? And I'm like, back to yourself.
It's a journey home.
Because once you get that like guide back to yourself, then you can know what you want. Because only you know what you want. And like being constantly distracted and stimulated by things around you, you don't know what you truly want. By being on social media all the time, you don't know what you truly want. Like how you said you like went out and meditated, and then your intuition was like, get the fuck up. Because
it was also it was a feeling like that, and it was also a choice to make. You can either continue to relax and affirm that you deserve joy and you deserve peace, or you can follow the like train that's going to go run inside. You need to grab something. Like, I literally felt like I needed pen, paper. I needed to research right now. Like, those feelings of just like do or die in my head. I'm like, shut up. Like that, honestly, to tell your brain to be quiet, to tell yourself to be quiet, it takes phenomenal effort. It really
And
does.
it's like an everyday thing. Like, it's not just like a one and done. Like, you gotta do it all the time. And you just gotta be like, nope, I'm in control. You save that thought for later.
You know, when you were talking about earlier, you did this work in 2022. You made these choices. I'm like, words to my mama type thing. I wanted to know her nugget of information because they just celebrated their wedding anniversary. But this was when times were rough. It was like, you're going to pull through with this. This is my dad, you know, like I would want to see the betterment for you over just like seeing, you know, I was in that type of mindset. I was like, why? Why do you have this love for a person who doesn't seem to have the same love for you? She said, because I've chosen that action every day. And I was like,
That's a lot. That's heavy.
it's heavy to the point that I carried the flowers down the aisle. It's heavy to the point that she was 8-9 months pregnant with my brother on the wedding day in July.
I got chills going down my body right now because, like, literally when people love you can love somebody and you don't always get to choose who you love, but it is a choice to keep loving, keep forgiving, keep committing. And it's so beautiful, but it's become so rare.
Yeah, when I look at I've always kind of looked at my parents and been like, I don't care what I'm seeing. I feel y'all when you met. The energy of teenagers, of two people who really didn't feel like they knew what they were doing, making a family, you know, and this goes for a lot of people. I've had recent conversations with you to become that, to become that queen. I think we said that, like, to become that king or queen within yourself is to mother yourself, to father yourself. And I'm not saying specifically like for men or for women, you know, you take what resonates, but to come out of this stubbornness, this, I mean, and I'm not talking about being a hermit. I know we've talked about that and how much solitude means for the both of us, but I mean solitude where it's detrimental. I mean solitude where it's leading to like depression and it's got you anxious and so disconnected. That type of solitude, thinking that we got it.
Been there though. Done
Who
that.
who the hell has not, and who
But
like who the hell
who's
has
willing
not?
to say they have been there?
I would want to be the first person to raise my hand so that everybody else can go putting their hand, because to say that you love somebody and then be questioning why that person isn't loving you the way that you love them is to have the true mirror of people are only going to meet you as deep as they meet themselves. But you yourself as the creator have a choice of live on valued energy, and you can continue to do that despite how people treat you, like genuinely. And I'm always telling myself I don't want to be my parents and I don't want to have their marriage.
I don't want to do it.
And then
Damn.
I look at them now and I wonder, Rachel, I wonder, because my mom is one of one. She does not have siblings, so that's why she wanted a family. And my dad is the older brother. He has a younger brother. Doesn't have any sisters though. What played out in that marriage? Oh my God. It should, like tabloids type stuff, you know? And then to be the eldest daughter and be like, he did what now? You know? And then be like, my grandfather's doing the same? My other grandfather's doing the same? I'm dead ass. Like, and I'm not y'all, I'm not sexist, I'm not misogynistic. What I'm trying to talk about is generational trauma and healing, and watching it play out in my mother and father, and then taking them to the divine, which at the time was church. My 12-year-old ass took my family to church, and that's on Jesus. And they went. And during that time of when I thought my mom was going to be like, nope, we had that conversation crying in the car. About to pick up my siblings. It was definitely like, we good. They got in the car. But she told me that. And I was just, I feel 17 again. No pun intended. When I say those words, because when you ask people older, what would you give? What's a word of wisdom you would give your 20-year-old self? It list goes on. And then they say something and it's like, oh shit. Like, that's what I needed to hear, you know? It is a lightning bolt moment. And it's so profound because you go, how did this happen? Because somebody shared, because somebody spoke up, because somebody communicated. They used what they call their throat chakra. And whether you want to admit that you're connected to that energetic center or not, how do you speak to yourself? It's a really, really grounding way to establish, where's my love? If I've never felt love before, how do I speak to myself? I speak to myself like shit sometimes, but have
what?
But I was going to say, my reprogramming is off the charts. And one of the biggest ways, the simplest ways I did that was through all my weird collections of journals and the weird affirmations I've wrote for myself, whether it be on a Post-it note, whether it be in my favorite journal. Those intuitive moments where I don't care how my handwriting looks, I just need to get it out on paper, you know? And then I go back and I read it and I'm like, really, what did I write? What is that? And right then and there, I can acknowledge growth. Because up here, it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes even looking at myself, it doesn't feel like it. But I read what I wrote down and I cannot believe, you know? I'm in disbelief. But one of my favorite artists said it. Write it down and watch that shit get real. And I love that because why I look to her, and I've watched documentaries about Badu, the one thing that she tells about herself